When I lived in Denver, I had this pastor who would tell us that people would come into his office and they would sit down and tell him how they were going through this crisis of faith, that they felt that everything that they believed, everything that they had known about God, about faith and Christianity was falling apart. And he realized over time that what this actually was most of the time was God taking the little box in which they used to hold him and just smashing it, destroying it, so that their conception of him would just be destroyed, so that they could see how much bigger he actually is than the tiny little box they used to hold him in. Sometimes I think that most of us are scared of doubt, that we see it as a bad thing, that we think that because we are doubting what we believe, we are a bad Christian, we are a bad person. But what if we started to see doubt a different way? What if we began to see doubt as the destruction of a small little box in which we used to hold a very small God who is nothing like the God of the Bible and the God of reality? Do you ever live in the city too long and forget the way nature feels? It's easy to get caught up in these clean, clear, straight lines and angles, and we forget that when we leave a city, when we leave the safe, clean environment of our house or our apartment or the place we work where everything is structured and orderly, that there is nature which is dangerous and chaotic, and it's never the same, and it's never what you're expecting, and it's always changing, and it's often ugly and real and raw. And sometimes I think that in our Christian life, we too can fall into the trap of, wanting everything to be this clean-cut, orderly box, so we can organize, here's my God box, here's my Jesus box. While those things can be beneficial and necessary, we can often forget that the same God who made order and straight lines also made crazy bugs and insects, and when you go out into nature, you get dirty, and things are not what you expected, and there's a lot of chaos, and there are no straight lines anywhere. And sometimes I think doubt can, in a way, theologically lead us back to nature. It can remind us that we worship a God who is not always safe, and we worship a God who definitely doesn't fit into trite little boxes which we create for him. But if you're terrified that what you believe might be wrong, and you never let yourself doubt at all, chances are you're someone who probably should doubt, because chances are you are believing some things that are wrong, that are making you hold God in this tiny little box that you're scared to break. Because what if the real God comes in and he's not safe, but he is good, and he is dangerous, and he is chaotic, but he is loving? And if you trust him, the real God, not your tiny little box God, I can guarantee that you will be uncomfortable, but you will emerge stronger and better. The only question is, how big are you willing to go? Are you willing to just let God destroy all of your boxes and embrace him for who he really is, even if it's scary, even if it's dangerous, even if it's not quite what you're familiar with and what you grew up with? Or are you going to stay in your safe little corner and never doubt the things that you believe ever? So whatever questions you're asking, whatever you're wrestling with, whatever it is that's in the back burner of your mind, which maybe you don't even want to address right now, let us not fear doubt, but let us come to see it as a tool, as a way to strengthen our faith, rather than a weapon of the enemy coming to attack us and rip our faith out of our bodies. Because maybe you will doubt and return stronger, or maybe you'll doubt and move to a new place in a deeper relationship with Christ and with this God who lives in the wild and doesn't fit neatly into nice little packages.